This game was some dog shit. Alright, that's a little harsh. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't good either. I genuinely remember seeing this trailer for the first time back in 2021, and I was actually pretty beyond hyped for this game. It was right in the area where the Arkham games were missed at its peak, and announcements that we'd be getting a Bat-Family game just hit right at home. It's right what we needed. And the concept trailers and the models actually looked promising. Like, it's weird to say that there was a time where this game actually had some hype going into it. But when the first game trailer dropped and revealed what the game actually looked like came to fruition, yeah. Never have I seen a fan switch up on a game before release. When Red Hood's Traversal was shown, and I'm gonna admit, through all the slander and the uphill fighting the game went through, I didn't back down. I still defended this game with my life, saying stuff like wait till the game comes out, or you're making fun of something that's not even out yet. I was a huge defender of this game, big time. I didn't care, the hype was there for me. So when the game eventually did come out, where did all the glazing and hype get me? Was it worth it? Well, kinda. The game wasn't bad. I enjoyed the first playthrough. Granted, it took me some time to complete it, and once I did, I immediately deleted the game, not even trying to dump myself into post-game content. But I had recently revisited the game and played it with my friends, so it's kind of why I'm making the video right now, because the experience I had with my friends somewhat improved my outlook of the game originally. Let's just start with the positives. First off, the way Gotham looks, I love it. It's vibrant, it's amazingly lit, and I love the details where wherever you see the light being lit within the buildings, if you get closer to it, you'll see what's causing the light to be flashed. It's really great, and it's really good attention to detail. I know the devs took some time in the buildings and the structures of Gotham, so props to make them look like that. It's props to them. Amazing sound design, amazing stage design, all of it's great. I just kind of hate how short the buildings are. Gotham should have a multitude of skyscrapers and tall buildings, and in the game, there's only like a handful. Also, the customization was a cool feature. Granted, a lot of the suits weren't my favorite since I made Nightwing, and I kind of stuck to the comic book skins, but still, cool idea nonetheless. Another positive I liked about the game was the finisher animations. I loved how over the top and extras they were. It was basically adopted or portrayed for each hero's personalities. It just fit them perfectly. Nightwings were over the top and acrobatic, Red Hoods were extremely aggressive, Batgirls were basic, but really clean. The cleanest out of all of them, actually. And Tim's utilized his staff in small weight to fast advantages. So it was really fitting to all the characters, truthfully. Added upon the idea of being fit for the characters, I like how the game portrays the relationships of the Bat family. It really capitalizes upon the core family dynamic the game has, specialized with cutscenes and even character-driven dialogue. Even if the characters in game are kind of gimmicky, if that makes sense, they're kind of just like fit into one stereotype and it doesn't really go anywhere, but still. I think though, sadly, that's all the outweighing good I had to say about the game, as now here comes the bad. First of all, even on my PlayStation 5 in 2026, the game's frame rate drops completely. This game comes out almost 5 years ago and the game's frames still drop. Second of all, with this game being RPG-ish with upgrading and cosmetics, the enemies and even enemy bosses can be very spongy when it comes to damage taking. Like, I'm just hitting endlessly brick walls and I'm kind of waiting for the health bar to go down more and more. It gets really annoying, even if I'm higher upgraded, because they seem to be catching up with me, and it's not that fun. And I know this is like for most bosses in video games to a certain extent, but still, it's just, it's not really, Gotham Knights isn't really a good example when it comes to it. Not like my fighters though, those best boss fights of all time. Also a little positive, I give props to the dev team for making the game more immersive with the idea that we're vigilantes, but back to the negative, I have no clue what the hell I'm doing most of the time, or even what the stuff is. There's a difference between immersion and hand-holding, and the game genuinely goes neither of them. It does nothing within those sorts of lines. I don't know what I'm doing. Also, the items for traversal for the four main characters, while again, props for trying something new,
let's never do it again.
Nightwing was given a Fortnite glider, Tim can teleport, Jason leaps, and Barbara's the only one that's actually Bat family member coded with a flying cape, or a gliding cape, my bad. Either way, was that the only options we had? But having Jason play leapfrog from building to building, Tim doing his best Nightcrawler impression, and Dick essentially just flying from rooftop to rooftop, you know, the only acrobat, takes a lot of fun out of being, you know, the only one that can flip from rooftop to rooftop. Again, why is he the only one that can actually flip though? It also doesn't help that the bikes move at a calm 20 miles per hour. Also, another big pet peeve I have for the game is the main story. It kind of feels like it's all over the place, and my biggest critique comes from the fact that the game just doesn't know what it wants its main villains to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be a Court of Owls story, or a League of Assassins story, or even more a Court vs. League faction war story. It doesn't know who the main villain of the game wants to be, or who the story wants to be about. First, the main villain is Raish, then it's Talia, then it's the Court of Owls and Jeb Kane, now it's back to Talia, and also the game ends and we have no conclusion of any villain that we beat at all. Talia escapes, and it's said that the League will still stay in Gotham as well, leaving our heroes needing to fight them off, but we also don't defeat the Court of Owls, and Bruce kind of just kills a lot of the horde of them, and the group of bad guys known for coming back from the dead, he kills them, like, I guess. I mean, the side bosses and the side missions have a better start, middle, and end to it than the fucking main story does, and I guess this thing is because the writers just didn't know who exactly they wanted to focus on for the main villain story, so they just jam-packed everyone together. I also don't like how this game was advertised to be this big story about the Bat family, how everyone has to come together and pick up where Batman left off. Only 2 people to be allowed to play the story mode by themselves, max. That's kind of a huge letdown for a 4 character driven game. The devs eventually came out with a 4-player mode though, it was a whole year later. Also, I hate how irrelevant the other characters are depending on who you play. Never do we see all 4 Bat family members in one cutscene outside of the Belfry, or even in a final one last cutscene before the final mission, which they don't even tell you it's the final mission, by the way. The game just abruptly ends once you go to a final mission that you didn't even know it was there. And when you're playing with a friend, only one person is shown in the cutscene, taking away a lot of the immersion of the game. Very rarely do you see the other person in the cutscene. If we do, it's for a couple seconds. The characters do have voice dialogue within the game though, so it kind of shows we're playing in each other's playthrough, but still, it's kind of lackluster and it kind of sucks, man. Yeah, great utilization of the Bat family, WB. Also, it doesn't help the cast of this game is pretty buns. Jim's dead and the GCPD is corrupt again, so that just leaves Renee Montoya as our Jim Gordon substitute. The Penguin, who's a legitimate businessman now, and a lack of villains mentioned, and only having 4 bad guys of Harley, Clayface, Mr. Freeze, and Man-Bat, and I think Kurt Lynch was actually canonically dead, so it's just a group of Man-Bats. That's kind of whack. It's obviously a meant opportunity to try to make you play the game more than twice with other characters, and I'm not going through this again. Overall, the game is probably the most middest game I think I've ever played. There's a lot of cool stuff that should have been expanded upon, and it's why the game kind of feels slow or like a bunch of nothing at times. And again, the ending of the game only has 1 character you played with, not all 4, so again, less feeling of a Gotham Knights aesthetic and more of a Gotham Knight aesthetic, 1 instead of multiple. And the game's not even truly that long. I think it's like a couple hours if you pushed yourself to play all of it, like 7 or 8, I think. Would I have wanted more out of this game? Ultimately, yes, but admittedly, it's better with 2 people than 1, truthfully. And while I didn't like Gotham Knights that much, I did recently play Suicide Squad with my homies, and that game is something I actually like, to tell you that right now.
I'm in love with broken girls, hey girl.